The silent resurgence. The silence of space carried no echoes of the battle that had raged 6 months prior. Where once the void between stars had been filled with the flash of energy weapons and the explosive decompression of human warships, now there was only emptiness. The Valkyrie Empire, with their crystalline ships and devastating gravitational weapons, had declared victory over the upstart species from Earth. Admiral Jex Carey stood on the observation deck of his flagship, the immutable Decree, watching the holographic display of conquered territories. His four eyes blinked in sequence as he examined the small blue planet that had caused his empire so much trouble. The humans had fought with unexpected ferocity, but ultimately their primitive technology had been no match for the Valkyries' superior firepower. The final battle over Earth's moon had been devastating. Humanity's last defense fleet shattered into debris that now orbited their home world like a grim memorial. The monitoring stations report no unusual activity from Earth, Admiral, reported his second-in-command, Subcommander Voli. Their remaining infrastructure appears focused on basic survival. No military buildups detected. Good, Jar rumbled, his crystalline skin refracting light as he moved. Maintain the blockade but reduce it by half. We need ships for the century expansion. Is that wise, Admiral? The humans proved resourceful. They proved extinct as a military power, Jax Tari corrected. Their orbital defenses are destroyed, their fleets eliminated, their military leadership executed. What remains are farmers and civilians, not warriors. The humiliation of defeat has broken their spirit. On Earth, 3 km beneath the surface of what had once been the North American Rocky Mountains, Commander Lena Reyes would have strongly disagreed with the Admiral's assessment. The vast underground facility known as Sanctuary 7 hummed with activity. Engineers moved purposefully between workstations. Scientists collaborated over holographic displays, and soldiers trained in cavernous chambers designed to simulate various battle conditions. Far from broken, humanity was building. Commander Ray stood at the central command hub, her weathered face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. At 43, she had spent nearly 2 decades in Earth's defense forces before the Valkyrie arrived. Now, she was one of the few senior military commanders who had survived the systematic execution of Earth's leadership. "Give me the status on Project Phoenix," she said to the gathered team leaders. Dr. Aisha Patel, the lead engineer, stepped forward. The gravitational inversion drives are operational on all 60 vessels. The stealth systems performed beyond expectations in the asteroid belt tests. The Valkyrie monitoring satellites didn't detect a thing. Weapons. Major Dirk Chen, head of the Armaments Division, brought up schematics of a sleek, angular device. The reverse-engineered graviton disruptors are ready. We've improved on the Valkyrie design by incorporating our quantum computing cores. They won't be expecting their own weapons to be used against them, much less versions that can adapt to their defensive frequencies in real time. Ray nodded, allowing herself the smallest smile. When the Valkyrie had destroyed Earth's conventional military forces, they hadn't realized they were dealing with a species defined by its ability to adapt. Humanity had a long history of learning from defeat, of studying their conquerors, and of rising again stronger than before. "And our people?" she asked, turning to General Santiago, the grizzled veteran who had been tasked with training the new human forces. "They're ready, Commander," Santiago said with quiet confidence. "We've trained them in ways the Valkyrie can't anticipate, mixed units of conventional and enhanced soldiers all versed in zero-gravity combat and asymmetric warfare. What we lack in numbers, we make up for in surprise and innovation." The Valkyries' greatest mistake had been leaving humans alive at all. Their arrogance had led them to believe that a defeated species would simply accept their new role as a subjugated world. They didn't understand that humans had never, in their long history, simply accepted defeat. In another section of the massive underground complex, Lieutenant Zoe Harrison moved through the training course with fluid precision. Enhanced with neural implants and subtle biological modifications, she represented the new generation of human fighters. Not super soldiers in the conventional sense. The development time for such programs would have been too long. Instead, they were humans improved through careful, specific enhancements that built upon natural abilities. Zoe's squad was composed of 12 similarly enhanced individuals, each specializing in different aspects of combat. Together, they had spent months mastering the Valkyries' own fighting techniques, studying captured data on their tactics, and developing countermeasures. "Again," Zoe commanded as they reset the simulation. The holographic Valkyrie soldiers materialized, their crystalline forms glinting under the artificial light. This time, the squad moved as one unified entity, exploiting weaknesses in the Valkyrie combat doctrine that had been identified through countless hours of analysis. In the engineering bay, Dr. Eli Novick made final adjustments to what appeared to be a conventional spacesuit. In reality, it was anything but conventional. The adaptive camouflage system incorporated into the fabric could mimic the crystalline appearance of Valkyrie skin and armor, allowing infiltration teams to move undetected through enemy vessels. The molecular restructuring still has a 15-second delay, he muttered to his assistant. See if we can get that down to 10. The scale of humanity's response to defeat was unprecedented. Every surviving engineer, scientist, soldier, and strategist had been brought together with a single purpose: survival through victory. There would be no surrender, no acceptance of the new order. Humanity would either reclaim its freedom or die trying. The Alliance. 3 months into the preparation, an unexpected development had occurred. A small scout ship belonging to the Krellal Confederacy, a species long subjugated by the Valkyrie, had detected unusual energy signatures from Earth's asteroid belt. Instead of reporting to the Valkyrie, the Krell captain had made contact with the humans directly. The Krellal, it turned out, had been watching humanity with interest even before the Valkyrie invasion. They saw in humans a potential ally against their longtime oppressors. More importantly, they provided vital intelligence on Valkyrie fleet movements and defensive protocols that would have taken years for humans to gather on their own. In a secure communication chamber, Commander Ray now spoke with Laurie, the Krell representative who had become their most important ally. The primary Valkyrie battle fleet has moved to the Century system as predicted, the insectoid alien reported, its translator converting complex clicks into human speech. Their home defense grid is at minimum capacity. Admiral Jex Perry believes you are thoroughly defeated. His mistake, Rai responded simply. Indeed, the other subjugated worlds watch Earth with great interest, Commander. Many have been under Valkyrie control for generations. If humans can successfully strike back, we'll show them it's possible. Rise promised, has your government considered our proposal? They have. The Confederacy will provide the distraction you requested in the Proxima system. The Valkyrie will never suspect that it coordinates with your attack. The alliance with the Krell had transformed what might have been a desperate last stand into a genuine strategic opportunity. Humanity would not face the Valkyrie alone. As the planned day for Operation Lazarus approached, Commander Rice addressed the assembled forces. Thousands of men and women stood in formation in the largest chamber of Sanctuary 7, their faces reflecting the same determination that had driven their ancestors through countless struggles throughout human history. The Valkyrie believe they've seen humanity's best effort, Rai said, her voice carrying to every corner of the vast space. They think they know what we're capable of. They're wrong. She gestured to the display behind her, showing the 60 sleek vessels that represented humanity's new fleet. These ships contain the best of what makes us human: our adaptability, our ingenuity, our refusal to submit, but more importantly, they carry you the unbroken spirit of Earth. The chamber filled with the sound of thousands standing at attention, a physical manifestation of humanity's resolve. In 3 days we launch, the Valkyrie expect a broken people. They will find instead an army they never knew existed. They thought the war was over. We're about to show them it's just beginning. Throughout the vast facility, final preparations were underway. Weapons were calibrated, ships were fueled, and soldiers made peace with whatever awaited them in the coming battle. There were no guarantees of victory, only the certainty that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. In her private quarters, Commander Reyes reviewed the battle plans one final time. The primary assault would target the Valkyrie flagship, the immutable decree, where Admiral Jax Tari would be vulnerable. Secondary teams would simultaneously strike at communication hubs throughout the system, isolating Valkyrie forces from one another. The plan depended on complete surprise, on the Valkyries' continued belief that humanity was defeated. Every simulation showed that they would have one chance, one moment to strike before the full might of the Valkyrie Empire could be brought to bear. As the facility's lights dimmed to simulate night, activity continued unabated. In the ship bays, engineers made final adjustments to the gravitational drives. In the armories, weapons were distributed and checked. In the medical facilities, combat surgeons prepared for the inevitable casualties. And in training rooms across the complex, soldiers like Zoe Harrison ran through their assignments one last time, committing every detail to memory. They would be among the first to engage the enemy, the tip of humanity's spear thrust into the heart of their oppressors. 3 days later, as the Valkyrie patrol ships made their routine sweep of Earth's orbital space, their sensors detected nothing unusual. The planet below seemed quiet, defeated, exactly as Admiral Jex Terry had predicted. They did not detect the 60 ships rising from hidden launch facilities on Earth's dark side, their gravitational inversion drives creating no heat signature, no conventional propulsion trail. By the time the first Valkyrie sensor operator noticed an anomaly, humanity's fleet was already beyond the moon's orbit, accelerating toward their targets. Operation Lazarus had begun. The silent resurgence of humanity was about to become the loudest statement in galactic history. The Unforgotten Armies. Admiral Jex Terry stood in the grand ceremonial hall of the immutable decree, surrounded by the Valkyrie High Command. Today marked 6 standard months since the conquest of Earth, an achievement worthy of commemoration. The crystalline walls of the hall reflected the light from ceremonial flames, casting prismatic patterns across the gathered officers. The human threat has been neutralized, Jex Tari announced, raising a goblet filled with luminous fluid. Their defiance, while surprising, was ultimately futile. Let this victory remind all species that resistance to the Valkyrie Empire leads only to destruction. The assembled officers raised their own goblets in salute. Many had fought in the Earth campaign, had witnessed firsthand the unexpected ferocity of human resistance. While most Valkyrie conquests were met with immediate surrender, humans had fought for every kilometer of space, had sacrificed millions to delay the inevitable. It had been perplexing. Admiral Subcommander Phi approached, interrupting the celebration. His crystalline face showed the subtle fracture patterns that indicated extreme concern. We've lost contact with 3 outer system monitoring stations. Jex Tour frowned, setting down his goblet. Technical malfunction. All 3 simultaneously, sir, that seems unlikely. A distant vibration shuddered through the massive flagship, subtle but unmistakable. What was that? Jax Tari demanded. Before Voli could respond, the ship's emergency systems activated. Red warning lights bathed the ceremonial hall, and the tactical display at the center of the room flickered to life, showing multiple unknown vessels appearing throughout the system. Impossible, one of the officers whispered. The tactical officer's hands flew across the control interface. Sir, we're detecting 60 unidentified ships. They're using gravitational drives similar to our own technology. Jex Tori stared at the display in disbelief. Humans. The energy signatures match no known species in our database, but their formation patterns. The tactical officer hesitated. They appear to be human tactical formations, modified but recognizable. How? Jatari roared. Their technology was primitive, their fleets destroyed. Another impact rocked the ship, more substantial this time. Sir, we've been hit, unknown weapon type, but our forward shields are down to 40%. Across the system, humanity's offensive unfolded with precision. The stealth technology developed in Earth's hidden facilities had allowed the fleet to approach undetected, and now the element of surprise gave them a critical advantage in the opening moments of the battle. Aboard the Phoenix, the flagship of humanity's new fleet, Commander Ryu's watched as the tactical display showed their initial strikes hitting their marks. The reverse-engineered graviton disruptors were proving even more effective than simulations had predicted. The Valkyrie shields unable to compensate for weapons based on their own technology, but operating on modified principles. All ships report successful initial strikes, reported Communications Officer Park. The Krellel diversionary action in Proxima has drawn away 30% of the Valkyrie response fleet, as anticipated. Good, Rise nodded. Signal Phase 2, let's not give them time to recover. Throughout the system, smaller human craft detached from the main vessels. These were the infiltration teams led by enhanced soldiers like Lieutenant Zoe Harrison. Their targets were the communication hubs that connected the Valkyrie fleet, the command centers that coordinated their defenses. Zoe's team approached the largest relay station in Earth orbit, their adaptive camouflage activated. To any Valkyrie sensors, they appeared as space debris, remnants of the previous battle that still littered Earth's orbital space. Remember, Zoa vocalized to her team through their neural implants. 15 minutes to place the disruptors, then rendezvous at extraction point Delta. Her squad acknowledged with simple neural clicks, no verbal communication that might be detected. As they maneuvered toward the station, Zoe observed the larger battle unfolding across her enhanced visual field. The human fleet was engaging Valkyrie vessels with unexpected tactics, using the gravitational drives not just for propulsion, but as weapons themselves, creating localized distortions that threw off Valkyrie targeting systems. Aboard the immutable Decree, chaos had replaced the celebration. Admiral Jex Carey shouted orders as his command staff struggled to coordinate a response to the unexpected attack. "Get me fleet-wide communications," he demanded. "Sir, we're experiencing interference on all channels," the communications officer responded, his crystalline hands moving frantically across the console. "We can only reach 30% of our vessels." How is this happening?" Jar's voice contained something unfamiliar to most Valkyrie officers, the first notes of fear. Subcommander Valley studied the tactical display, his military training overcoming his shock. "Sir, they're using our own technology against us. These aren't the same humans we fought 6 months ago." "Impossible. They couldn't have developed this level of technology so quickly." "Evidence suggests otherwise, Admiral," Valley said quietly. "I believe we underestimated them." The truth was more complex than even Vi suspected. Humanity hadn't just reverse-engineered Valkyrie technology. They had reimagined it, approaching familiar principles from entirely different angles. Where Valkyrie engineers had spent generations refining standard applications of gravitational manipulation, human scientists had asked different questions, found unexpected answers. The resulting hybrid technology represented neither pure human innovation nor simple Valkyrie replication, but something new, the first true synthesis of both species' approaches to physics. At the relay station, Zoe's team moved with practiced efficiency. The adaptive camouflage of their suits now mimicked the crystalline appearance of Valkyrie technology, allowing them to move through the station without immediately triggering alarms. "First disruptor placed," reported Specialist Chen through the neural link. "Activation sequence initiated." One by one, the team planted the small devices at key junctions throughout the station. These weren't simple explosives. They were sophisticated systems designed to infiltrate Valkyrie communication networks and introduce cascading errors that would render coordination between ships impossible. "Patrols incoming," warned Tactical Specialist Rodriguez. 3 Valkyrie heavily armed. Zoe assessed the situation instantly. "Hold positions, camouflage only." The squad froze as the Valkyrie patrol moved through the corridor, their crystalline forms refracting light in patterns the human eyes found disorienting. The adaptive camouflage of the human suits adjusted in real time, matching the surrounding environment with microscopic precision. The patrol passed without incident, and the team continued their mission. In the space around Earth, the battle had fully engaged. The Valkyries' initial shock had given way to their considerable military discipline, and they were beginning to mount an organized defense. What they lacked in coordination due to the communication disruptions, they made up for with superior numbers and firepower. Commander Ray had anticipated this phase of the battle. "All ships execute maneuver Hydra." The human fleet responded immediately, breaking their formation and dispersing into seemingly random patterns. But there was nothing random about their movements. Each vessel followed a carefully calculated trajectory that maximized the effectiveness of their gravitational drives while minimizing their vulnerability to Valkyrie weapons. "Sir," reported Tactical Officer Ishikawa, "Valkyrie reinforcements are arriving from the Mars outpost." Reyes nodded. "Right on schedule, signal the Krell. It's time for their second act." Across the system, at the edge of the asteroid belt, a small Krell fleet decloaked and began attacking the Valkyrie reinforcements from behind. The Krell vessels were few in number but expertly piloted, focusing on disruption rather than destruction, delaying the reinforcements' arrival. Admiral Jex Tari watched in growing horror as the coordinated attack unfolded. These weren't the actions of a defeated species fighting in desperation. This was a carefully planned, multi-phase operation executed with precision that matched or exceeded Valkyrie military standards. "Sir," Valley reported, "we've lost contact with the Earth Orbital Relay Station. Communications throughout the system are degrading rapidly." Another impact struck the flagship, more powerful than the previous hits. "Direct hit to Engine Section 3, called out a damage control officer. "Gravitational stabilizers failing." Jex Terry made his decision. All available power to forward shields and weapons, target the human flagship. We end this by cutting off the head. The immutable decree surged forward, its massive weapons systems charging. The human vessels in its path scattered, apparently intimidated by the flagship's approach. Commander Rise watched the Valkyrie flagship's movement with grim satisfaction. They took the bait. All ships clear Pathway Alpha, prepare primary weapon for deployment. The Phoenix maintained its position as other human vessels moved away from the oncoming Valkyrie flagship, creating a clear line of approach. They believe we're retreating, Tactical Officer Ishikawa observed. Let them believe, Rise responded, until it's too late. As the immutable decree closed the distance, confident in its superior firepower, the Phoenix's primary weapon system came online. Unlike the other graviton disruptors used throughout the fleet, this was something entirely different, a technological leap that represented the pinnacle of human-Krell collaboration. Quantum entanglement field at full capacity, reported Dr. Peddle from the engineering section. Targeting solution locked. Fire, Rise commanded quietly. The beam that erupted from the Phoenix appeared almost delicate, a thread of blue-white energy that seemed insufficient to threaten the massive Valkyrie flagship. But appearances were deceiving. The quantum entanglement field didn't attack the Valkyrie ship directly. Instead, it created a localized space where the laws of physics temporarily aligned to human specifications rather than Valkyrie ones. In that altered space, the complex gravitational technology that powered the immutable decree suddenly operated according to different principles. The effect was catastrophic. Throughout the Valkyrie flagship, gravitational systems failed simultaneously or worked in opposition to each other. Sections of the ship experienced extreme gravitational fluctuations. Crew members in one corridor were crushed by sudden high gravity, while those in adjacent sections floated helplessly as gravity disappeared entirely. On the bridge, Admiral Jextar grabbed a support column as the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. "What's happening?" he roared. "Unknown weapon effect," cried the science officer. "It's interfering with our gravitational field generators at the quantum level across the ship." Critical systems failed as the entanglement field disrupted the very principles on which Valkyrie technology operated. The mighty flagship, pride of the Valkyrie fleet, began to drift, its engines sputtering and dying as containment fields collapsed. At the relay station, Zoe's team had completed their mission and were preparing to extract when the station's internal alarms suddenly activated. "We've been detected," Rodriguez reported. "Extraction route compromised," added Chen. "Heavy Valkyrie presence between us and the rendezvous point." Zoe processed this information instantly. Alternative route through maintenance shaft J7. Move. The squad abandoned stealth in favor of speed, their enhanced bodies pushing beyond normal human limitations as they raced through the station. Behind them, Valkyrie security forces mobilized, their crystalline weapons charging with deadly energy. The first shots flew past Zoe's head as they reached the maintenance shaft. Chen, Rodriguez covering fire, everyone else down the shaft. The narrow vertical tunnel would take them to an external airlock where their extraction craft waited. As the team descended, Zoe and her two designates provided suppressive fire, their weapons firing modified graviton pulses that disrupted the crystalline structure of Valkyrie armor. One by one, the team made it down the shaft. Zoe was the last to enter, firing a final burst before sealing the access hatch. "Status," she demanded as they continued their descent. "Kerm took a hit to the left arm," reported the team's medic. "Suit integrity holding, but the arm's mobility is compromised." "I can still fight," Karim assured her. They reached the airlock and cycled through in practice sequence, emerging onto the station's exterior. Their extraction craft was where it should be, its stealth systems active but recognizable to their enhanced vision. As they made the final approach to the craft, a Valkyrie patrol ship rounded the station's curvature, its sensors sweeping the area. "Hold," Zoe commanded, and the team froze in place, their suits once again mimicking surrounding debris. The patrol passed within 50 meters, close enough that Zoe could see the individual crystalline plates of its hull. For a moment, it seemed to hesitate, as if sensing something amiss. Then it continued on its predetermined course, moving away from the human team. "Board now," Zoe ordered, and they made the final approach to their craft. Once aboard, they disengaged from the station and activated the gravitational drive. The small craft accelerated away, one more piece of debris in a system now filled with the chaos of battle. Throughout the Earth system, similar scenes unfolded as infiltration teams completed their missions and extracted. Not all were successful. Some teams encountered heavier resistance than anticipated. Others fell victim to Valkyrie countermeasures that had not been in the intelligence briefings. The price of victory would be measured in human lives, as it always had been. But the overall operation was succeeding beyond the most optimistic projections. The Valkyrie communication network was in shambles, their coordinated defense falling apart as individual ships lost contact with command. The mighty immutable decree, symbol of Valkyrie dominance, drifted powerless through space, its systems crippled by human ingenuity. Commander Rise watched the tactical display with cautious satisfaction. Status of the Valkyrie flagship. Life support holding but all major systems disabled, reported Tactical Officer Ishikawa. They're effectively neutralized and the rest of their fleet disorganized without central coordination. They're falling back to defensive positions around Mars and Venus. The Krell forces have successfully delayed their reinforcements. Reyes nodded, signal all ships, prepare for Phase 3. Phase 3 was the most ambitious part of the operation, not just striking at the Valkyrie but securing key positions throughout the system. Humanity wasn't fighting simply to bloody the enemy's nose. They were fighting to reclaim their home. As the human fleet moved into new formations, targeting Valkyrie strongholds throughout the system, a transmission cut through the communications channels, a direct feed from the Phoenix to the crippled Valkyrie flagship. Admiral Jeksari, his crystalline face fractured from the gravitational stresses his body had endured, stared at the human commander who appeared on his remaining functional display. "This is Commander Alina Ray of Earth," she stated, her voice calm but resolute. "Your flagship is disabled, your fleet is in disarray. You have two options, Admiral, unconditional surrender or complete destruction." Jeksar's four eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme agitation in Valkyrie physiology. How did you do this? Your planet was defeated." "You mistook a battle for a war," Rise replied simply. "Humanity has never been defeated by a single loss, Admiral. Our history is defined by our ability to rise again. These weapons, this technology, is just the beginning," Rise finished for him. "What you're witnessing today is humanity's first response. Consider carefully what the second might look like." The implied threat hung in space between them. Jari, Supreme Commander of the Valkyrie forces, conqueror of 17 systems, faced the first true defeat of his long career. "I will not surrender my fleet," he said finally. "Then surrender yourself," Rise countered. "Order your forces to withdraw from Earth space immediately. You will remain as our guest, a guarantee of Valkyrie compliance." It was a calculatedly generous offer, one that would allow the Admiral to save face with his forces while giving humanity the strategic advantage they needed. After a long moment, Jekstur inclined his head in the Valkyrie gesture of reluctant acceptance. "I will give the orders." The battle didn't end immediately. Isolated Valkyrie ships continued to fight, either not receiving the withdrawal order or choosing to ignore it, but the organized resistance collapsed as the majority of the fleet retreated, abandoning their positions around Earth and its moon. By the time the final shots were fired, humanity had reclaimed their home world and established a defensive perimeter that extended to the asteroid belt. The Valkyrie had withdrawn to Mars, maintaining their presence in the system, but no longer an immediate threat to Earth. Commander Reyes stood on the observation deck of the Phoenix, watching as the first shuttles departed for Earth's surface. After 6 months of occupation, humans would walk freely under their own sky again. "We did it," said General Santiago, joining her at the viewport. "They said it couldn't be done." "They always say that," Rise replied with a slight smile. "Throughout human history, someone has always said it couldn't be done, and then someone does it anyway." News of humanity's victory spread quickly through the galaxy. On worlds long subjugated by the Valkyrie, populations watched in astonishment as reports filtered through of the Empire's defeat. On some planets inspired by Earth's example, the first whispers of resistance began to form. The Krell Confederacy, having revealed their alliance with humanity, now faced potential Valkyrie retaliation. But they did so with new confidence, knowing that they no longer stood alone against the Empire. In the secure holding cell aboard the Phoenix, Admiral Jex Terry contemplated the events that had led to his capture. The humans had done what no species had managed in 3 centuries of Valkyrie expansion. They had not merely resisted, but had struck back effectively after apparent defeat. "You should have exterminated us when you had the chance," Commander Reyes had told him during their first face-to-face meeting. "But I'm glad you didn't. Your mistake has given the galaxy something it's needed for a long time: hope." As Earth began the process of rebuilding, plans were already forming for what would come next. Humanity had no intention of stopping at merely reclaiming their home. The Valkyrie threat remained, and beyond them, a galaxy filled with both potential allies and unknown dangers. Lieutenant Zoe Harrison stood with her team on the surface of Earth, watching the sunrise over mountains that had been hidden by Valkyrie occupation forces for half a year. The sky was clear, the air sweet, the moment perfect in its simplicity. "What happens now?" asked Specialist Chen. Zoe looked up at the stars, still visible in the early morning sky. "Now we show the galaxy what humanity really is." The battle for Earth was over, but humanity's journey into the stars had only just begun. They had been underestimated once. It would not happen again. The species that had been written off as defeated had returned as a force that would reshape the galactic order. They had thought the battle was over.